Welcome back, Guardians. In our last report, we discussed the Hive. Now, that information was designed to give you a fighting chance against them, both on the ground and potentially in your own morals as a Guardian. But to understand our morals and who we are, as Guardians, we have to look to what we are fighting for. We're not just tools of the Traveler, we're not just weapons of war, we are defenders of the great city, the last refuge on Earth that we call home. In this report, we will discuss the ages of humanity and how the city, in which we defend every day with our lives, came into existence. To start, we have to break down the ages into their proper chronological order. Unfortunately, due to the collapse and unforeseen reasons, we are unable to put together the exact dates and times in which these events or ages occurred, but we can, with some unreasonable doubt, place them in order, in which this report intends to do. Starting with the First Age, also known as the Before. It is an age pre-Traveler. Some would say potentially 21st to 23rd century Earth would encompass most of the age of the Before. But at this point, those values are purely speculation. The Before Age, also can be termed the Pre-Arrival, is an age in which we understood the universe, or at least thought we did. Most of the secrets of the universe were at our very fingertips. An age in which humanity was full of pain and sorrow and death, and Earth and the surrounding areas were dead or dying planets, and progress was considerably stagnant. But that age definitely changed with the arrival of the Traveler, and ushered us into an Enlightenment phase, also called the Golden Age of humanity. This was the term that was derivative by those who experienced the age in its fullest. Our information on the Golden Age is sparse, but it is particularly telling. It's an age that the Traveler changed everything. His arrival changed us all. It reshaped our solar system as decisively as it shattered our scientific and philosophical frameworks. To our ancestors, it must have been a hammer blow, a glimpse beyond the horizon of unexpected possibility and into the realm of transcendent power. The Traveler may have kindled the Golden Age, but we built it. We remembered this with pride, even after so much has been lost. We settled our solar system and filled it with our work. Today, cryptarchs and scholars work to distill the legends of the Golden Age into truth. We know that humans lived longer, flew further, and knew more. We knew that countless ancient diseases and hatreds were extinguished forever. Human aspirations gives birth to vast engineering projects, sweeping social movements, and even new forms of life. The Golden Age was not without its challenges, however. Sources speak of eternal strife, philosophical rifts, and particularly around the questions of machine intelligence and mind forking, and enduring scientific enigmas. But humanity and its machine children tackled these problems with vigor, pride, and a contagious sense of pluralist compassion. The term mind forking is an interesting term, and to give it better reference, we have to explain it. Imagine a future whereby anybody can be uploaded to the cloud if they tire of their quote-unquote meat body existence. It ties into the notion of singularity and the eventual advancement and convergence of technology to the point that we can simply upload a complete copy of our consciousness to a computer if we so desire. The idea of humanity moving back and forth into physical and virtual realms has been at the conceptual roots of our literature and culture, spanning back centuries. Now, there's a Golden Age story. Whether this is actual truth or just more literary device, it is interesting and will be used in this report to give the Golden Age a bit more reference. This story speaks of a father and his son. When I was your age, people thought they knew almost everything. We had scientific laws, human truths, even a model of the universe. People carried pictures of the past and tried to have a clear vision of their difficult future. I didn't know everything, of course, but when I was a boy, I had every expectation of living a smart, short life and learning quite a lot more. But the arrival of the Traveler essentially changed that. That's when everybody, particularly the smartest of us, learned that we knew nothing. We were children, and our little ideas were toys, and the universe was cut apart with great ideas and magnificent, immeasurable potentials. In this story, the father showed the boy a mural, a painting of the old world, or potentially some sort of symbolism representing a painting. And the boy was sad. It was a painting of death and sorrow of what humanity had left. It was a dead earth. When the father took the boy outside again, back into the golden age in which he was currently living, the father asked the child what he had learned. But the child did not speak, for he knew what he had learned. That every face, every individual was happy. Even the saddest face had happiness. Figuratively, that's exactly what the Golden Age brought, was happiness in the simple term of the word. Literally, it brought technology, it brought advancement, it brought longer lifespans, and it brought us the ability to create things. Potentially the XO or its precursors. And it gave us the ability to understand ourselves down to the fundamental level. But that all changed. Now it's unknown whether if it changed in rather an instant or if it was gradual over the period of lifetimes. What we do know is that it was swift and potentially total, but the word swift is used vaguely. Swift could mean anything. It could mean centuries in the periods of thousands of years, or it could mean decades in the periods of centuries. The information, again, and dates and times are unknown to us, but what we do know is that we have lost most, if not all, of our Golden Age secrets. Information about the Dark Age is summed up almost completely and terrifyingly in a very short and simple sentence. The tally of suffering may be beyond our comprehension, but the city lifted itself from the ash, gathering survivors. Guardians rose to challenge alien hordes. The Dark Age swallowed so much of our history, but hope never died. Whether or not the Dark Age was brief is again unknowable. It was vast and all-encompassing. But now the current age, the age in which we have lifted ourselves out of with the help of what's left of the Traveler and those Guardians who stand with us, is the City Age. But the question remains, when did the city begin? Perhaps when the bulk of the world's survivors lived beneath the Traveler rather than in the wilderness? Or when the Titans raised the first wall? Or at six fronts when the city faced a coordinated, overwhelming attack and repelled it decisively? However, the city did not rise without struggle. Warlords and wilderness fiefdoms clung to power. Starvation, disease, and anarchy menaced. But the Guardians held the frontier, and the children of the Golden Age kept the fire burning through the long climb back. Legends walk through this history. The Iron Lords, Saint 14's crusade against the fallen, the Mask of the Speaker, the Great Ahamkahara Hunt, Talon's madness, terrible faction wars, and the horrifying, disastrous effort to retake the moon. And as the city learned to walk again, it found a world overrun by an alien menace. It faced disaster and defeat. Even in recent years, as Guardians begin to venture back to the moon and to the inner planets, the city's territory has withdrawn. Outer sections abandoned and converted into fortification in the wake of the Battle of Twilight Gap. In the last report, we briefly touched on references to Twilight Gap and the battle to retake the moon. But the information surrounding those two topics seems to be sparse, if not very vague. What we do know about Twilight Gap was that we fought a combined house of fallen. All the fallen houses were combined against us, but we overturned them, pushed them back potentially, but still somehow we fought ourselves into a stalemate, no side truly winning that battle. In the wake of the faction wars, going deeper into this subject, the consensus was formed. Now, the consensus is sort of the ruling council, overseeing through political and, of course, arbitrary means the direction in which the city is going to take. Currently, it is unknown exactly how many factions are a part of the consensus, but we do know from some of the names who is there. Recently added was the Future War Cult. Of course, Dead Orbit and New Monarchy have a position, and the Vanguard is there as well. Helping them rule is the Speaker. Some factions, especially the New Monarchy, would argue if the consensus is really helping, or if it's just another burden placed upon the Guardians and the city's inhabitants. Regardless of these facts, questions are still yet to be answered. The city's shipwrights and foundries hum with energy. The probability cleanse and work cooperatives produce new wonders, but the darkness is rising again, and we yet to know why. But we do have something very powerful on our sides, and that is the light, and we are also rising. But to better understand what we are facing and the obstacles in front of us, we have to still look deeper into our political hierarchy and the factions that some of us ally ourselves to. In the next report, we will discuss the factions, the Vanguard and the Crucible, and how it all ties into the consensus, and how these factions have plans for our future, for your future.